We just landed on the moon in a Lambo, taking pictures with the zoom and the angle. We'll be coming back to you with the same pulse. Our predictions coming soon with a halo. Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can feel my belief. Take into account I must account for what I really think. Being in the space I learned to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? I said, are you a believer till the end? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself if you believe it though. You never questioning yourself if you believe it though. You know the deal, please don't take the L. Never taking no L's if the Lord helps me, oh Lord. Never taking no L's, so I stay with me so long. Never taking no L's if the team with me, oh Lord. Never taking no L's, so I stay as ego.
All right. Hello, Tokenmetrics family. Hello, crypto family. Hope you're all doing well. Let me just set this up here. Apologies on the delay. We're having some audio issues, so hopefully it's not too bad. But it's definitely still wanted to go live. And man, the crypto markets, never a dull day in crypto, as we always say. Well, as usual, we'll go through, give you a market update. We'll speak about what's happening in terms of geopolitics, the macro, and how that could potentially affect crypto. And then, as usual, any questions you have, we'll answer them. So just post those questions. Go to menti.com, menti.com. The code is 23490021, or just scan the QR code. Let me just move myself out of the way. There we go. So just scan the QR code, post any questions you have, and we'll answer those questions. All right, so let's see who was first on the stream. Hey Tyler, what's up? Good to have you here. Already have questions on top five projects. Yeah, just submit your questions on Menti and we'll get to them. Sheikh, good to have you here. Asking about Peak and Andrina. Amazing, good to have you here. Janice, good to have you here as well. Yes, smash the like button. Definitely show us some love. Hey, Corone, good to have you here as well. OJ in the house since 2017. Yes, what a ride. Never a dull day in crypto. Never a dull cycle in crypto. Crypto is one of those. I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, I'm about to make 10 years in crypto, which is pretty wild, pretty crazy. Feels like 100 years. Crash, are we pumping? Honestly, we don't know. We are completely on the sidelines. Pretty much everything on the fund is in stable coins, except the tokens that are locked up that we can't sell. Because right now the market is not looking so good. So uh, let's hop straight into it. Before we do, just a few updates and announcements from Tokenmetrics and TMAI. First up, last week, yeah, I believe last week, we were listed on BingX. It's an Asian crypto exchange. Highly encourage you to go check it out. They're doing this basically airdrop of TMAI tokens. So if anybody wants to potentially earn up to $500 in Tether worth of TMAI, go check it out. This is going on until June 24th. So there's less than 24 hours left. So let me drop the link to this in the chat. But definitely go check it out. Especially in times like this, where you get to earn some free airdrops in TMAI. Then we recently announced our partnership and integration with QuickNode. So if you go to QuickNode, Tokenmetrics data is available there if you're a builder building. So just go there to marketplace to their marketplace, and you can access our API and data. And then last but not least, we may have shared this before, I'm not sure. But for anybody out there who's not a developer, Tokenmetrics data is now also available on Zapier. Yes, Zapier, the no-code platform. This has, I think, more than 4 million users. So I'll drop the link here for anybody who wants to leverage our data. But if you're not a developer, this makes it very, very easy to do. You just basically get your API key on our platform. So here's an example of one of our
Next, I apply some filters.
one of our analysts. Basically, let me just play this from the beginning. Basically, building their own Telegram bot using Tokenmetrics API, and they're not a developer. This is a no-code platform. We have a few other no-code platforms coming out, but basically, just come in here, plug in your API key via Zapier to Tokenmetrics, and you can get access to our trading signals. Let me move this out of the way. And basically, Zapier has a bunch of other different integrations, including Telegram, Discord, email, Twitter, even other APIs. But basically, it's a way to connect our data to the tools you love to use. All right. So in this example here, they're pulling in basically trading signals. They're setting the different filters or parameters they like. And these trading signals are then being sent to Telegram. This is something people have been asking for a while. They're saying, hey, Ian, hey, Tokenmetrics, how do you get access to our data to build their own signals or trading bots or alerts? Well, now you can do it via Zapier. So I highly encourage you to go check it out. We'll post the link of this as well. But then the final update, due to the overwhelming demand and success of our liquidity LP program, we, as mentioned, we tried it out for 2 weeks. Now we're doing it again. It's been extended for a month. That was via Merkle. If you come here, you can basically see all the different LP pools we have. So still paying out almost 200%, almost 240% APR on Uniswap. When we announced it, there was about 10K TVL. So the TVL has done a 17x. We're giving away more than $1,000 in TMAI daily to all liquidity providers. And then Aerodrome is about 196% APR currently. and Balancer is about 150% APR. Balance has done about a 4.5x. So across all these pools, we're giving away a lot of rewards. Now, there's been a lot of interest on the USDC pool, so we're upping the amount so it's higher. So for this next month or so, basically, as you see here, there are more daily rewards if you provide liquidity via Uniswap. Yeah, if you already have TMAI, this is a great way to earn extra TMAI. You basically just come here. I'll post a link in the chat. But when the market is bearish, this is a good way to basically earn additional yield. It's basically free TMAI for providing liquidity. Just come here, click this, click supply. We can see here there are 46 providers in this pool who are all splitting this amount. Okay, all right. So that's the announcements for today. Let's hop straight into the market update. All right. So the market has been bearish the last few weeks. So ever since end of May, on May 30th, crypto market cap was about 3.34 trillion total market cap. Now it's about 3.25. So basically, since beginning of June, the market has been bearish, and our bull and bear gauge is now in a strong sell. So basically there are two ways to kind of view this. You can view this as, hey, you know what? Let's get out of the market, go completely to the sidelines, which is what we're doing, going away from basically trying to trade everything, having a shotgun approach, to really just being a sniper. But even right now, there isn't really anything to snipe. If they are, there are very, very few tokens. We can see the big movers of the day. Game, we've covered Game a lot. It's up over 80% in the day. I believe the founder of Virtuous Protocol mentioned something that they're going to add basically more utility to the Game framework. Cool thing is, Tokemetrics is in the finest phases of building our virtuals and game integration with Tokemetrics AI and our data, meaning that all the builders, anybody building AI agents via Virtuous Protocol, will have access to Tokemetrics data. So it's making our data available to power and be the AI hub for people building trading agents on virtuals. Pretty cool. It's in the works. Basically, we have the PR already done. And basically just the virtuous team has to just approve, and then that will go live. So stay tuned for that. Then other big movers, we have Matchain. I think I've heard of this. Might be an L1, L2. Useless meme coin. Lo-fi movement is bouncing back. I think I saw something on X or Twitter saying that they're doing some kind of buyback that's been completed. So I don't know if that's what's causing the price action, but we'll take a look at this. This is one of our portfolio companies. It definitely had quite the fall from grace. One of the founders got pushed out, but now it seems to be kind of bottoming. This seems like a potential reversal. So we'll take a look at that. But right now, the market is bearish. We're on the sidelines. You have to really, literally be a crypto degen to still be in the market at this point in time. Why is that? I mean, a lot of macro and geopolitics is happening. DC, for those who have not been following the news, the US has, in essence, bombed Iran. Iran has been retaliating. They've been going through conflict with Israel. So without really picking sides, but just looking at the markets have began to basically take a flight to liquidity, right? And what's really been going viral across crypto Twitter and just, I think, social media in general. Well, actually, let me pull up the post here. Uh, Actually, let me pull it up on a different window. So basically, people are just trying to speculate on what is likely to happen. Is one, two, how this affects crypto markets. Uh, all right, just give me a minute here. It's not copying and pasting the link. Actually, before we do that, let's first go to a poll of the day and let's see what the sentiment is on what's happening. All right. So, the question is: do you believe the conflict in between the U.S. and Iran will lead to a huge escalation of a potential World War III? Is this just pure hyperbole? Answer no. Do you think this is a maybe? Do you think this is a yes? Um, this is a new poll format I'm trying out with Mentimeter. So just let us know what you think. Also, drop your comments in the chat and we'll take a look. Already seeing some comments here. Um, Somebody's saying just listen to Raoul Powell the other day, speculating that the cycle may peak around Q2 2026, starting to closely align with what you have said for the last few years. Yes, my hypothesis has always been spring to fall 2026. That has not changed. Um, and if anything, I think this huge correction, pretty much all of this year, just gives us a bigger base to have a longer, prolonged bull run. And my prediction was not really that special. It was just looking purely at technical analysis of Bitcoin halvings, pre rally, post rally, and just it's not the biggest sample size, but just seeing how big each cycle has gone on average after the Bitcoin halving. And on average, every cycle lasts 25% longer than the prior cycle. Anybody can find it just looking at TradingView, just looking at Bitcoin, with the Bitcoin halving as pivot points. And it's not rocket science. So just looking at that, there was no way I could see a world where the crypto market does not last longer than last cycle. So just looking at purely that simple data point, you can predict basically it's going to be sometime in 2026. Now, this is me just purely speculating. I'm not, who's the guy? I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not Houdini. I'm just a guy with a computer and crypto data and tokenomics trying to give a hypothesis that's data driven that we can hopefully leverage to navigate ourselves as we invest or trade in crypto. Now, the map is not the territory, as they say. So you have to have strong convictions held loosely. What does that mean? That means we have this hypothesis, but we still have to look at what the market is giving us on a daily and weekly basis, right? If World War III comes tomorrow, everything out the window, okay? Right? We have to put our pride aside and see that the world is giving us something a little different. All right. So pretty much most people are saying no, there's no World War III conflict about to happen, which I think is kind of the same. Where do I stand? Um, Initially, everything I was seeing, I didn't really believe or trust. I would say I'm probably more so towards it's unlikely to happen, but it's a non-zero chance it could happen. Right. So I'm probably between the no and the maybe camp. If you force me to pick, I would say no. But we're here to speculate, right? Okay. The market is dumping, so we're here to speculate. So actually, all this is being done live. If we go to, let's kind of see what the other side is basically saying. Actually, let's first go to Polymarket, right? Polymarket is basically a prediction platform. So I've come here, and they have this new tab just for Iran. I don't think they have one for World War III. Um, and let's see what the biggest markets they have at the moment. So I'm seeing here major cyber attack on Iran in June, which is pretty much this month is over. 94%. Yeah, I don't know why that's there. Then we have Iran military response by different dates, and they're all anticipating something to happen by by end of June. So we have Monday 76%, June 30th 73%, But the reason I'm bringing all this up, though, um, is this. I found this on X. Well, actually, YouTube first. This. Okay, that's not the post. Yeah, basically, this has gotten 3 million views. Basically, it's a college professor from Yale using purely history and game theory, is going through and basically has been predicting what's going to happen in geopolitics. Now, this is still speculative, but basically, he's been predicting a lot of different events. And he went viral because he had this prediction that Trump would win a second term and attack Iran in what would lead to World War III. This was over 1 year ago. And now people are going back and seeing these videos, him breaking it down from a purely game. For anybody who knows game theory, basically it's math. If you've seen the movie Beautiful Mind, um, actually, I'm a big fan of game theory. Game theory. This is why I bring this up. Um, from purely just being able to find the most optimum strategies in different scenarios, whether it's in business, whether it's in negotiations. So they basically are applying this towards geopolitics. But anyway, uh, we'll try to do the Cliff Notes version and then kind of give you my perspective on this. Right? But basically, he's saying, let me basically saying all roads, all conflict leads to an escalation um, of America sending ground troops into Iran, which is in essence poor military strategy. Now, I don't know about all the other stuff, but how does that affect everything we're doing, right? Um, if we come to, let me just close some of these tabs here. I'll kind of give you the Cliff Notes version. So, in essence, crypto and Bitcoin especially, is designed to be a hedge for the US dollar and currency debasement. So, in whatever world we're in, any geopolitical conflict, war, especially, I think pretty much fiat currencies are screwed. So, whatever happens, I think somebody's saying the sub to his channel when he was 13K subs. I mean, whatever happens, basically, Bitcoin is going to be king. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's just the honest truth. But I think now is not the time to be in altcoins. That's just my honest take. I think the data has shown that this cycle has been the cycle of Bitcoin. So if you're in the market right now, you have to basically be trading a sure thing or just trading with a very small amount of capital, basically being a sniper. But whatever's happening with the geopolitical tension globally, the last thing you want to be is in shitcoins or altcoins, right? Right now, we're back to risk off. And I think right now we're at super risk off. So the market is basically telling you get out of the market, be on the sidelines, hold cash, maybe even hold Bitcoin. But even Bitcoin, if we go to Bitcoin, Bitcoin has been heavily affected. Bitcoin, which has been doing well, had an all-time high. It dropped under 100K last time I checked. Okay, so it's slowly bounced back. But basically, if we peaked at about 100, 910K. Bitcoin has been going down. We see the trader grade for Bitcoin is down 34%. Right now, it's a sell. So I think even the party in Bitcoin has gone down. Now, relative to the last 30 days, it's not much. It's still under 5%. But this tells me just sit tight, and just see what's happening globally. with the geopolitical tensions. Now, I'm not saying Bitcoin is going to crash. I'm just saying sometimes it's better to do nothing. Just sit tight and and wait it out, basically, right? So while the trader grade is down, Bitcoin is up today. So I think we're about to enter a choppy market because our signal turned bullish at 85K back in April. From 85K to almost 110K, 111K. That was a good run. But now it's slowly coming down. The fact that trader grade is declining tells me we might be due for this signal flipping back to being bearish, which means if Bitcoin is bearish and altcoins have not really done well, there's really nothing forcing anybody to be in the market. Now, I'm not saying go out there and short Bitcoin, but I think right now, if anything, it's best to be cautious and be on the sidelines. Because if we come back here, uh, let me see. Yeah, so I'm basically going to be glued to Polymarket. Obviously, they're not perfect, but I think it's a good way to kind of see the wisdom of the crowds in terms of what could potentially happen with a given probability. Um, Now, obviously, as things begin to develop, all this will swing and change, and once it happens, it's kind of a done deal. But I think it's good just to be cautious. If we just go back to this, oh wow, this has changed a lot. Okay, I did not see this one coming. Wow, so this is neck and neck. We have basically a tie between people thinking that there's no World War III or yes to World War III. Okay, that's very interesting. So let me actually just then maybe go back to this analysis. So this professor's name is Jiang Zhuqin. I just butchered that. Basically, Yale educated geopolitical analyst. Okay, let me try to skim some of this. Okay, so basically his analysis in 2024, May, predicted Trump would win, leading to an invasion of Iran. And he compares this to basically what happened in Athens in the Peloponnesian War. This is basically an old war that led to the collapse of, I think, the Greek Empire. But anyway, the main thing for us crypto investors is that this can destabilize the US economy. Now, I'm basically going to be binge watching the rest of the analysis, but basically, he's speculating that this might be the end of the US empire. Now, I don't know how true that is, but he's predicting a world war by 2027. So there's technically still time. There's still time to make 100x. But obviously, jokes aside, what does this mean? Now, I don't know the likelihood of this will happen, but I think if anything, Bitcoin has a bigger use case as a flight to safety. Because if a war happens, I don't see how that ends well. That likely does lead to a lot of money being printed, but kind of like what happened with World War II, when Germany was defeated, a lot of countries in the war just collapsed, especially the UK, United Kingdom, and to a point where they had to be bailed out by, I believe, the US. That's when the US became a superpower, right? America became the world's biggest country because they helped defeat Germany during the World War, and they still had money. Everybody else was basically broke. Um, so hopefully things don't escalate to larger conflict or World War III. But sometimes you have to plan for the worst. If that happens, I think Bitcoin is going to be king. It's going to be king. It's going to be queen. It's going to be the popper, right? And not altcoins. I'm the altcoin guy telling you. I think Bitcoin or honestly shorting, but we try not to short because that's how a lot of people just get wrecked. They get liquidated is shorting the market because you can be right and still lose with being shorted, right? Because the market can be irrational longer than you can be liquid or solvent, right? So we try not to touch on that. But yeah, I think it's a very challenging time we're in. Okay, let me. Okay, somebody's saying Bitcoin just flipped bearish yesterday. You checked. Okay, I don't know why mine's showing bullish. Do I have to reset my cache? Okay, let me just refresh here. Okay, so I don't know which one you're looking at, but the way it's looking, it's going to be bearish. Right? The fact that it dropped 34% in a day, because the signal is basically a moving average, so it takes a while to reflect the trader grade. That's the way our platform works. But right now, it just tells me Bitcoin's going down. I don't know for how long. It could be for a few days, for a week, for a month, but I would get out, right? Because, well, not yet, but once this officially turns bearish, yeah, I think it's time to go purely on the sidelines. The thing is, if you're holding stable coins and the US dollar inflates, even that might not be such a good thing. Actually, let's look into gold. Let's look at Pax Gold. Because gold is typically a hedge. Okay, wow, gold has done very well. Um, Gold is up 46% in the last 1 year. Yeah, basically from 2,300 to 3,300 or even 3,400. Not too shabby. I mean, gold is the analog version of Bitcoin. If we're going into a chaotic time, I think definitely worth looking at this. Let's actually start this so we can keep an eye on this. All right, so I've been rambling a lot. Let's go back to Mentimeter. This is actually pretty surprising. I was not expecting this many people to say um, yes to a war. Okay, so let's go to Q&A or AMA. My quant has Tibber going to 5 billion market cap and Clee.ai or CMD going over 100 million market cap by end of the year. Yeah, I don't know what these are, but we can take a look. Clee.ai, CMD. Yeah, this token is too new to have much data on. So we can't really do this. Then you said quant. Is this the one? Oh, Tibber. You're not saying this. But I mean, if you're still trying to trade this market, I don't know why, but let's say you are. These are the tokens our platform has. There's not much to trade, but if you're a degen and you still want to be in the market, let's first go to trending tokens. So they're not using my. Let me remove this filter. So it only has three tokens uh, out of the trending tokens. So across the ages, this I've not heard of. Aerodrome. Aerodrome was recently. They had this big announcement. Coinbase will be integrating Aerodrome into their wallet, into Coinbase wallet. Basically, kind of like how they've done with Morpho, where they've, I think, done almost $1 billion worth of loans via Morpho, the DeFi lending platform, to Coinbase users. So users don't even see the plumbing or how the sausage is made. They just are able to borrow against their collateral, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything is being sourced behind the scenes via DeFi, via Morpho. So same thing's happening with Aerodrome. Definitely a big, big announcement. Aerodrome has done well. If we pull up Aerodrome here, yeah, it's up almost 14% today. It's a strong buy. So it's definitely going against the tide. Bullish signal turned bullish at 75 cents. It's up about 40% in the last 1 month. So if you're looking for a blue chip base ecosystem project, this is it. It's the number one DEX on base. We actually do have our first liquidity pool for TMAI was on Aerodrome, uh, which we covered earlier. So I would look into that as a potential trade. SPX has done pretty well. Um, that's Murad's coin or his token of love that he keeps on uh, hyping. It's up 14%. I think it seems like we have an error here. I don't know why I did back-to-back green signals. We'll have to look into this. But this is up about 34% in the last 1 month. It's a large cap, so I would be cautious. It's gone from 48 cents to $1.19 since end of May. So it has done pretty well. And that's pretty much it in terms of trending tokens. If we go to the top grades on the top trader grades on the platform, uh, using bullish trading signal, more than 1 million in daily volume. Let's say only let's only see those that are trending up in terms of trader grade and not on the way down. And there's not much here. We have Banana, we have AS Roma, the fan token, Bunker Coin, Quantix AI. But honestly, all these, there's nothing that is really jumping out as a trade. If we're looking at the top gainers, basically it's the same list. So I'm always finding the top gainers, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty to really be in the market at this point in time. Here, let's see if we can kind of um, screen some of these questions. I don't think it's letting me do it. Um, Here. If World War III happens and internet infrastructure is damaged, what happens then to Bitcoin and crypto? Oh wow, good question. Short answer is I have no clue. um, Long answer, if we were to speculate, yeah, because I would think if there's no internet and there's no electricity, you have to find a way of keeping your crypto in cold storage, maybe on a piece of paper, and just hope that um, things change. Because you kind of have a lot of different scenarios, right? You have where it's just a small conflict, kind of like Iraq, where it's just kind of like these small region having a fight, but or you have where it escalates into this big, large war. I was actually in New Orleans over the weekend, my wife's birthday, and we went to the National World War II Memorial Museum, and it was pretty eye opening. But basically, with World War II, the U.S. didn't want to get involved until Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, forcing their hand to basically get involved in this big war. Right? Basically, you had Germany, you had Italy, and then you had all these other European countries fighting, and the U.S. was dragged into World War II. So, from my reading um, of people predicting or trying to speculate on what could happen, right? Basically, you have Israel in conflict with Iran, basically killing all their top leaders, trying to create this or trying to remove the threat of nuclear war. And then you have Iran retaliating. Then you have the U.S. initially was not going to get involved. Now it's gotten involved. And then I believe Iran cut off access to some part of their sea, basically supply lines that do affect China. Um, Now, based on this other guy's game theory, China will not get involved in the war. Um, but at this point in time, I think the likely thing to happen is Iran will retaliate. They've already mentioned this publicly, apparently mentioning that they have sleeper cells in the U.S. Now, if this game theorist's projections are right, he claims that some event will happen in the U.S. He thinks it will be done by the U.S., which is kind of very interesting. That will allow them to create propaganda to start this war, an invasion of Iran. And he says that will be bad strategy for them to go to war via ground troops because it's a losing battle. Well, not losing battle, but he's saying kind of like the Russia-Ukraine conflict. There's no upside, yeah, from a game theory perspective, right? Um, which was somewhere. Yeah, basically, he predicts this would lead to basically a civil war and the collapse of the American empire. A little hyperbole, but the key thing is he's saying the dollar collapse uh, could happen as a result of all this. If these wars escalate, um, that's pretty rough. But honestly, I have no idea. I like to store my crypto in cold storage. What I like to use, okay, I don't have it here. Well, you basically have, I use Ledger, I use YubiKey. I love YubiKeys, um, USB. But if we're all going back to the Stone Ages, I don't know what to say. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's unlikely. But just make sure not everything is stored on your computer. Is Aura the next SPX for Murad? Okay, so this actually was on a list. I had it up here. This was on our trending list. It's one of the trending tokens of the day. If we pull this up here, it is up 42% on the day. And this chart just spiked out of nowhere. It's still a buy, although it's trending downwards. At about 130 million FTV in market cap. Is this correct? 97x in a month. If that's the case, I would take profits. Though I don't think anybody really caught that. I see here. Let's see if we can see the market cap. So it went from like what, less than a million market cap to almost 200. Yeah, this is like the good old ICO days. So actually, cool time to kind of maybe tease this. Based on user feedback, we'll be building and launching what we call Tokenmetrics moonshots, which is basically the ratings page, but designed for um, sub $10 million market cap tokens with a lot of upside. We basically have gone through, and in essence, the filters we like to use to find those those trades, kind of being snipers, we're automating all of that and just creating a page that will find anywhere from 1 to 5, maybe 10 tokens a day that we think have a lot of upside of doing 1x or more. And these are not long-term investments. These are basically sniper trades, trades that you'll hold for a few days to maybe 2 weeks as the time frame. So be on the lookout for that. This will be coming out for our customers. So if you're a trader and you like to trade and you want to find tokens, kind of like whether tokens on dexes, like on pump.fun, think of this kind of like an automated screener that shows you the best tokens to snipe on. This is something people have been asking for. So uh, we plan to have that out, I would say by early next month. So it's or the next SPX. Um, I would say I would default to no. I don't think that's gonna be the next SPX. Are there any projects with no more than $100 million FTV that have a working product and are paying holders cash for simply holding the token? So basically, you looking for a low cap project that gives you yield. So yield earning. I mean, I think you probably have to go to stablecoin platforms. That's that's probably the best guess. Um, but basically, a low cap project that earns yield. Let me let me check something here. We'll go to actually looks like they added a new tab for holders revenue. Okay, so this is DeFi Llama data showing protocols that where holders earn revenue. And number one is Hyperliquid. That's why it's done so well. 90% of fees go to for burning the token and 7% to HLP. Okay, so this is not really holders, but I think they gives money back to holders. But anyway, under 100 million. Yeah, I don't think any of these are under 100 million. Let's bonk. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind, uh, except for tokenmetrics, TMAI. We did turn the fee switch on, but once we launched the indices, which I would say at this point in time, it looks more so like early launch next month. But a portion of trading fees will be going to TMAI stakers. But nothing is jumping out. Aerodrome is large cap. Um, so is Hyperliquid, Jupiter. But this is a pretty good list. If you just come here, I don't know if there's a way to filter by market cap. Okay, there is no way. And then the lower we go, I don't know if I would be looking at these tokens down here this low. Now, I did see Banana as one of our top trades. Let me see if it's the same Banana. Yeah, Banana for scale. Okay, this is a meme coin. Never mind. I thought it was Banana Gun or bot, which does it's basically a Telegram trading bot that does generate fees. But this is a different one. So honestly, I think at this point in time, nothing's coming to mind. I used to bullish on Natix. Uh, yes, not as much as I was before, to be honest. We think it's a good project, but altcoins have just not done well. This was really a hedge on HiveMapper. Let's see how it's done. Oh wow, okay, it's been on a run. So for May, it looks like they had a run up until beginning of June. Then market turned bearish. People have been getting out. Yeah, so it's currently at 110 million FDV. I think we invested at around what 70, 80 million FDV. Right now, it's a strong sell. Trader grade is down over 40%. Um, I I would be on the sidelines right now. I would not. I would not be in this at the moment. Besides stablecoins and putting stocks in blockchain, is there any actual use case for crypto? I'm looking at Gamble 5 projects like DKing, Runit, and PQ similar to Polymarket. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of use cases for crypto. It just takes a lot of time for them to materialize. Whether it's stablecoins, as you mentioned, with the Genius bill passing the Senate, whether it's real world assets, whether it's DeFi, whether it's DePIN. So I think there is use case, there's tangible use case for crypto, but the honest truth is 95% of projects will still go to zero. That's just any technology as it's developing will have most companies go to zero. Same thing with the dot-com era. Not every website survived, pets.com and others, but eventually um, a better version is made, whether it's Instacart now, or whether it's Amazon, eBay. Google eventually won out of all the other search engines. If you know the dot-com era, Excite, Ask Jeeves, Alta Vista, they all didn't work out. Back then, they all looked like scams. Well, not scams, but Ponzi's or whatever word you want to use. It didn't seem like it was real. But now, here we are. A lot has happened, and there have been some real companies built. Same thing, if you go to stocks, um, basically the Mag 7 now it's being called, the S&P 500, only 7 stocks are really doing much, if anything, right? Or rather, only 7 stocks are actually doing well. The rest are not really doing anything, right? So if anything, that's a better way to just be high growth in purely technology or AI plays. So companies like NVIDIA, um, Microsoft, Apple, and so on. So same thing's happening in crypto. You could just think about that. If we look at the S&P 500, um, 7 out of the 500, that's 1.4% is doing well. We'll say, let's do a quick search on this. Okay, so this is a quick analysis using Perplexity. So the Magnificent Seven, which is basically Alphabet, aka Google, Amazon, Apple, Meta, aka Facebook, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Since 2014, from 2014 to 2024, I don't know why I didn't use up to 2020. I guess 2025 is still happening. They've done a 9x. They've gone from 1.8 trillion to 18 trillion in market cap. The S&P 500, excluding the Mag 7, has done only 150%. So 9x versus 1.5x. So basically, you're better off not investing in the whole S&P 500 to make a 1.7x over a decade, but rather investing in the Mag 7, basically high growth technology stocks. Um, and that's really it. So apply the same thing to crypto. So basically, 99% of the S&P 500 have been duds. Just holding the index has, in essence, been a dud. Yes, it's done well, but you're better off just holding the Mag 7 for 10 years. Some people would call you all in into high growth tech stocks, but you outperformed holding the S&P 500. So I think crypto is the same thing. You have to kind of just find those high growth tokens. That's why we're very excited for launching our AI indices. We'll have market cap wide indices where you can just buy the whole market, think like top 100 tokens, or having alpha driven indices that will be focused on finding the best trades and rebalancing for you. So we'll be doing both. Stay tuned. The plan is to kind of gradually launch. We'll first launch with the Tokemetrics market indices, then we'll have different sectors. Okay, so let's just come back here. Still bullish on, actually here. Let's do rapid fire because we've been on for about an hour. Still bullish on older coins invested like Movement Labs and My Pet Hooligan. Yes, still bullish, but altcoins are not doing well. So I think it's going to take a while for them to bounce. Movement is already up 40%, I think, based on the buyback. But with the way things are going currently in the world, I think you have to kind of wait for Bitcoin to decouple from other asset classes, um, and then to have its rally. Once that happens, for funds or capital to then flow into altcoins, which hasn't really happened yet. So I think you have to kind of just sit this out and just wait. Okay, this was answered. Thoughts on Believe ecosystem, launchchain, and Dupe? They've had a pretty good launch. They've done pretty well. Um, no thoughts at the moment. I think, did I see it somewhere? Yeah, I thought they would be here. Maybe it was on X. They are generating pretty good revenue numbers. I would just watch it. I don't really have any strong sentiment towards it. Will TMAI stakers be able to invest in Andrina, Dawn, and SPV for Andrina if they will raise before TGE? Thanks. We can, honestly, at this point, we don't know. We do know, though, they had a Series B round um, with some large VCs. So our SPV was sometime last year. I don't know if they're going to do a second raise, but the Series B has happened. And it's a pretty good list of investors, pretty notable investors. I don't know when TGE will happen. My guess is probably before end of the year, although there's no actual date set. But it's one of my favorite projects. I call this the next Helium. But anybody with TMAI can join the platform in the VIP group. We do provide SPVs. Although right now the market has been pretty slow because we're not trying to bring deals that have very long vesting schedules that affect when the tokens are liquid in the market. But then too, we also want to make sure um, the deals are of quality And right now, kind of the market we've been in, things have kind of cooled off. But SPVs are not for everybody, um, especially in this market. You have to we want to focus on getting long-term investors because early stage venture investing is a very tough game. Um, 9 out of 10 products do not do well, if any, and we're looking to hit home runs. Um, so this is high risk, high reward. People seem to forget about the high risk aspect of venture investing. What do you need to see to get back into the market, and where would you allocate a liquid portfolio for this cycle? For the market indicator to start going up, if we come back here, this is basically home base. For this to go from strong selling 14% to start going up, right? So to go to sell, neutral, that's basically it. Um, we're actually working on possibly reworking how this is displayed because we do think once the market is buy and strong buy, that's like the peak, the top. It's typically a good time to take profits. So this we're looking into how to rework this. But yeah, basically not to be down here. If, unless you're thinking of accumulating down here, but you have to accumulate assets of quality. So you have to make sure what you're buying the dip on is something that you think will bounce back and still be around next cycle. Not just for this cycle, but next cycle. Because some assets might not ever come back. So you don't want to buy a dip on poor quality assets. Um, let's and where would I allocate? Um, honestly, I would allocate TMAI. That's I'm all in on TMAI. Outside of that, you can think of each sector, find the projects you like, real world assets, deepen, AI, maybe gaming. But right now, the sectors we like DeFi and real world assets. But that does not mean they're available investments with huge upside at the moment. But I do think being diversified in different sectors um, is a good long term strategy. What browser do I use? I use Arc browser. I like it. They have like side tabs. I'll be looking into trying different new browsers like the AI browsers. So the same company that makes Arc launched a new browser called Dia that I haven't had a chance to look into. Then also Perplexity is working on a new AI browser as well, kind of like Dia, called Comet, that I'll be looking into whenever that launches. Is Solana the new ETH? What's the next chain to pop, or will Base capture retail flows? We had a live stream on this about a month ago. Uh, in my opinion, the next chain to pop will be Sui. It's kind of already popped. People are already talking about it, Rao, Pal, and others. But just looking at the infrastructure, um, it's the next chain to pop, right? So if we come here, I thought we added dominance for Sol. Okay, it's not here. Okay, but the reason Sui, like even us as we're building TMAI, the different platforms we're using from Privy Wallet for the account abstraction and logins, basically social logins, to Li-Fi for the smart order routing, the the big chain they're all adding is Sui. So pretty much this gives Sui exposure to all these different new users. Even Phantom Wallet added Sui as a supported chain. So Sui has done the most this year in terms of making their chain available to large platforms, to a large ecosystem system of users. It's the biggest non-EVM chain that's doing that at the moment. So I think I don't see anybody else um, doing better than them based on the fundamental things they've done this year. Now, if you wanted to just find a low cap token with upside, that's possible. one that's been doing well um, is Kita. We've covered this as well on prior streams based on their trader grade. Although it's finally dropped now, so it's a strong sell. Although the signal I think should be bearish, it might take some time. But that's basically it. Okay, this. Okay, somebody looks like I answered everything. All right, so let me just check the chat and see how we're doing. Then we can wrap things up. We are still winning, even in bearish trends. Time is on our side. Yes, indeed. Think long term. Let's go tokemetrics. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go tokemetrics. Let's go TMAI to the moon and beyond. All right, that being said, we'll wrap things up here. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. As we like to say, the moon is not the limit to the moon and beyond. Thank you.